In the vast spiritual universe, the influences between the material and astral planes are more complex and interconnected than we can often imagine. Among these phenomena, spiritual obsession is one of the most disturbing and widely reported by mediums, scholars, and astral projectors. It is a dangerous and exhausting connection that can occur in various ways, involving both disembodied and incarnated spirits in a cycle of mutual suffering. Spirits who have disembodied with addictions are a classic example of obsessors who, driven by an uncontrollable desire, seek to get closer to living people who share the same habits. These spirits are still deeply attached to earthly sensations caused by the use of substances such as alcohol, drugs, or other forms of pleasure. Unable to consume these products on their own, they lean on incarnates who still practice these vices, absorbing the energy generated by consumption. For them, it is as if they are reliving the lost sensation, even if indirectly. This creates a dependency relationship that can be devastating for both sides. But obsession is not limited to addictions. There is an equally disturbing phenomenon related to unresolved personal issues. Many spirits carry resentments and grudges that were not overcome during earthly life. These emotional conflicts can span multiple incarnations, forming bonds of hatred and a desire for revenge that persists in the spiritual plane. Imagine, for example, a spirit that was betrayed, humiliated, or harmed in a past life. Even after death, this energy of resentment remains active, leading the spirit to persecute or torment the person it considers responsible for its pain. This establishes an obsession that transcends time. There are also cases where obsession occurs for less aggressive but equally harmful reasons. Some spirits, out of ignorance or attachment, remain by the side of loved ones, believing they need to protect them or simply because they cannot let go. The false idea of protection is common, especially when the disembodied person feels that their presence is necessary for the well-being of the incarnate. Others, driven by convenience or energetic affinity, find in the incarnate a suitable field for connection. This forms relationships that drain the vital energy of the living. Scholars of the spiritual plane point out that cultivating negative feelings such as anger, envy, jealousy, or hurt can lower a person's vibrational frequency. This puts them in tune with obsessive spirits that vibrate at the same frequency, creating a kind of energetic portal that facilitates their approach. This vibrational affinity process is one of the most critical aspects of obsession, as it leaves the incarnate vulnerable and susceptible to unwanted spiritual influences. In even more complex scenarios, there are reports of obsessive spirits operating in organizations and factions in the astral plane. These spirits are often dominant leaders, endowed with great mental power. They use their influence to control and exploit vulnerable in bars, nightclubs, motels, gambling houses, and other places that promote loss of control are considered strategic points in the material plane. These locations are disputed by spiritual factions. The leaders of these factions decide which spirits can frequent and exploit these establishments in a scheme that resembles a system of spiritual commerce. Incarnates who are addicted or emotionally fragile become easy targets. They are treated as spiritual commodities and exploited by these spirits to maintain their dynamics of power and control. But how do we deal with these deep and complex influences? According to mediums and scholars, the methods to help both the incarnate and the obsessive spirit involve processes of understanding, vibrational elevation, and, above all, love and compassion. For incarnates, practices such as prayer, meditation, and self-awareness are ways to strengthen the energy field. These practices help sever connections with environments can also be energetically cleansed using spiritual elements that help raise the vibration of the place. In the case of obsessive spirits, the process is more delicate. Many mediums and spiritual groups carry out disobsession work, seeking to understand and rescue these spirits. Through loving and enlightening dialogues, they try to show the spirit that there is a path of evil. This applies even to those trapped in cycles of hatred or addiction. Some spiritual traditions perform rituals involving the presence of protective entities. These entities guide obsessors to spiritual treatment centers known as healing colonies. In these places, spirits can begin their rehabilitation process,